Hello and welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk about the constant. So what are the constants? Before talking about the constants, we need to know a few more things about the variables. So let's just make a variable. I'm making a var here, var, and I'm making it something like x, and the value I'm adding is 5 or 6, whatever. I'm going down and I'm just using it fmt print ln and parentheses. Inside the parentheses I'm just calling the x. I'm going there and I'm running the go run index go, and there I am getting the 6. I got a 6 here because the result was 6. Okay, that's cool. Now if I just go down and I just call x again and add equal sign and I add something like 10. Now I go down again fmt print ln, and here I'm calling actually the x again. Now I'm going back, and here I'm just running the command again. Now you just need to see, first it is 6, second it is 10. You can see that there is same variable, the x, we have made it. Here we just called it, then we updated its value, then we call its value again, the x here again. So what is happening here, every programming language starts from the top. So first the compiler just reads it, the x, as 6, and it prints it at line number 9. But when it reaches to the line number 11, it reads that x is actually 10, but it actually clear that at line number 9 it was 6 when we used it at line number 9, but at line number 11 it became 10. So when it goes to the 13th line, and here we're calling the x again, so now the x is 10, not the 6, because it is updated in line number 11. So whenever we call the x before this update, it will be ultimately the print ln x, and you just need to go there and check that again. Here you're gonna get that 6 and 10, 6, and then again 6, because at line number 12, because programming language starts from the top, so the compiler doesn't know that it actually about to be updated at line number 13. So it just printed the x as 6 at line number 12, but when it got updated at line number 13, we are using it print ln and x again. Now we have 2 time calling of x at line number 15 and 16. Now you're gonna get that the 6 and 10, but right after this one again updating the value of x as 8, or why not make it 89, because let's just make some a little big value anyway. So here now 6, 6, 10 and 89. So when we update the variable, then after that whenever we use that variable we will get the updated data. Okay, that's cool, but let's just make the constant by now. Now let's talk about the constant. Actually a constant cannot be modified later. For example, to make a constant you need to type const and add in space, just like we did with the x here. Just do the same almost, and I'm adding the value 12. Okay, now I'm going down, I'm doing everything I did with the variable. I do not need to call the x anymore. I'm going here and I'm just running the code, and now the code is it's actually, you can see that the 6, 6, 10, 89 and 12. This was 89 and this is 12. Well, one thing I just want to clear, that even we have made the constant here, we still can use the x. We can use any variable or constant throughout the script, but we just cannot use any constant or variable just before the making of them. I'm gonna demonstrate what I'm just telling, but by now I just wanted to show you this. Yeah, the 89, then 12, then again 89, because the x is actually 89 by line number 17. So after that, whenever we call the x, we're gonna get the 18. So we're 89. So we're getting the 89. Now we need to know that if we just do this by going here and fmt.println, and here I'm calling the x again, so you can see that undefined x. Wow, we just defined it here. Then why it is undefined? Because the compiler, the programming language starts from the top. So first it reads that the function. Now programming language, or actually the compiler, knows that in the Go language we are inside the function, which is main function, and the very first thing it reads is the fmt println. Whoa, we are gonna print something, but right after that, when it reads the x, it knows that there is no x. It only reads these lines. So it stuck here because the x is not anywhere in these lines. For reading the x, it needs to go down, but the compiler has no eyes. So because it doesn't read the next lines, so according to the compiler, it is an error. If I just go here and if I just run this, the command line arguments, undefined x, if I just call this right here, and if I just run this again, and now you're gonna here the triple times 6 and then 10, 89, 12 and 89. Now let's just play with the constant. Now I am just updating the constant here because y is a constant, not a variable. So I'm just updating the value of the y up to 45. Now you can see that cannot assign to y. Why we cannot assign this? Because it's a constant. If I just try to print it again, even the script won't work because we did a big mistake here. The y, I'm calling the y here. I'm just running this. You can see that at line number 27 and the number 4, you can see that here cannot assign to y. Okay, so now this is how it works, and this is why the constant is different from the variable, that you just cannot modify the value of the constant. A few things you should know whenever you're making a variable. Here we're testing it, but when you're making variables or constant, because we can use any variable anywhere in a screen, so unless we actually need to create a new variable inside the script, just put that variable at the very top. So it'll make the script more cool and more efficient. Now you're not gonna have any error. So in case you just thought you just need to make the variable x here, and you just need to make the variable here, but then you realize that you need to use that x variable there. So what you will do, maybe you can forget that. So whenever you're creating a variable, you should create that at the very top. But absolutely, when you're modifying the data of the variable, again, you just cannot modify the data of the the constant, so it doesn't work. But when you're modifying the variable's data, so it has to be at the place from where you want to start the modification, or you want the to use the modified version of the variables. Suppose if I just added the 16th at the line number 16, I just updated the value of the x, but at the line number 15, I should get the result of this x as 6, but after the line number 16, I should get the result as 10. So if I just pick this up and just paste it here, right here, and if I just go here and if I just run this, I'm gonna get something different. you know, the 10 10 10 and 10 and 10, and then 89 and 12 and 12, because I just added the modified version of the x at the very top. So for the modified version or the modified x or any variable, we should remember where we need the modification. So this is how it works. Also, one more thing, let's just clarify if you have the question too. Now I'm making it back to 6. It was 6, made it 10, and just made it back the 6 again. I'm just going here and just printing it out. Okay, in here the 6 6 and 10, and again 6, then 89, then 12, then 89 and 12. But this looks so manual. Let's just do something interesting. I'm going here and I'm assigning the value of x to any other variable. Let's just make a new variable. I'm making a variable z. I'm going down and I am just making it integer, and here I'm not using it by now. So the value of z is equal to the value of x. It is quite interesting. If you just noticed, it is giving an error. Then why it is actually counting the z as an error? Because we didn't just use this again, the same thing, because the z is declared here and we added the value even, but we are not using it yet. So I'm just using the z right after the very last update of the x. fmt.println, in here I'm using the z here. Save it. Now there is no error anymore. If I just go here and I'm just printing it out, okay, now you can see that this one is right before the first 89 there. This one is the first 89. It is 6. This one is 6. Just to detect the right value, not to confuse, I'm just doing it the z here. Save it. Now just run this again and you're gonna get the actual z place. Yeah, the z here. Now this 6. Okay, now we just used this one right after declaring, right after actually modifying the value of x, but you can see that it's 6 still. Now if you want to just make the x back to the original form, because we added the actual value of x to the z, so right here what I just need to do this thing what I just did. Now here I have declared the x and given the value 6, then declared the z and given the value, actually given x. Now ultimately the value of x, now the value of z. Okay, now here the x became 10, then 6, then 89, then here, because I know that z is actually now have the value of x, so the z has 6 or whatever number this will have. So I just actually modify the x again and added the value of z, added z here. So ultimately the z's value is now added to the x. So as you know, the z has the original value of x, so now the original value of x is assigned to x again. Just make it 7000 or the random number. Now this is actually programming. We're not giving the value manually here. We are assigning the original value of x to x. So this is what we are doing here. It is quite simple. Anyway, I'm just going here and just running this up, and now you're gonna see that the original value was 7547. Now it's 7547, and then again the 7547, because after assigning the z, the original value of x, to the x, we're calling the x again. So I think you just now know how it works. So in the next lecture, we're going to talk about the different operators, the arithmetic operators, the assigning operators, because now we're going to use the operators in the programming.